Hi guys, welcome back. This is part 2 of my Q&A video. If you missed part 1, I'm going to leave it linked in the description box below. And so today I'm just going to answer the rest of the questions that you guys asked me on Instagram. Thank you very much for your questions. So I'm going to get straight into it. So the first question is, how do you manage to stay positive and active with your children? I'm struggling with one sometimes. I don't want to leave the house as it's such a struggle. Any tips would help. I totally and completely sympathize with you. A few months ago, probably I would say when Isabella was first born, all the way up until she was about 6 months, I became a complete hermit. I did not want to leave my house. I didn't feel confident going out with 2 children. I felt like I was just getting in like a panic stage whenever I felt like I had to leave the house to do stuff with the children. And I don't know why that was, but I know that I'm so much better now, and that all it took was time and me feeling confident in what I'm doing and how I can handle them. My biggest worry at the time was, how am I going to handle the 2 of them if they both need me at the same time, and if they're both like really unhappy at the same time and I need to tend to one of them, you know, like how do I deal with that? So that stopped me a lot from going anywhere with them. I just didn't feel confident doing it, and I think then I got to a point where I was getting more and more confident in what I was doing at home with them, and I just started to go out for a few hours and then come back. And then one day I had a big job opportunity to travel with the 2 kids and stay overnight in the hotel, which I almost didn't take because I was so nervous about doing it. But I'm glad I did, because after that I just felt like this was okay. Actually, it wasn't as bad as I thought, and then I started doing more and more things. So my advice would be, try and get out of your comfort zone once and see how you feel, if it gives you a little boost of confidence. If not, if you think that's a bit too much, then just take it slow, but do try your best to feel confident in what you're doing first, because I know it's really hard to just sort of like throw yourself into the deep end when you're not confident, like going out with the kids. So I totally understand where you're coming from. Staying positive. I'm just generally a positive person, but I do find that I have a really good way to get myself out of any negative situations in my mind. I'm a very logical and analytical person, and so whenever I'm in a rubbish situation or things are not really making sense, I always try and bring myself back to myself, like my analytical side, and analyze everything and understand it. Knowledge and information is like massive for me. I just feel so happy around knowledge and information. That was a big thing for me in my pregnancy, because all the midwives, they kind of try and not give you all the information. So like they do your blood pressure and they say, oh, you're fine. And I always used to ask all the details about everything, because that's what keeps me calm and that's what I like. So yeah, that's how I try and stay calm and positive with the kids, is just by trying to focus my mind on doing what makes me comfortable, which is analyzing and thinking about things. Sorry this wasn't as helpful to you, but this is just how my brain thinks. Next question, what is the best thing about living in the UK? I love this country and I just feel so at home, so welcome here. I like the people, I like the government, I like the way the country looks, the values, and the best thing about living here is having met my husband in the place that I love the most in the world. How lucky am I that I met Matthew here, and London was always the place that I always wanted to live. One of the best things about living here as well is access to everything, how easy it is to go into shops and buy things that you want and to order things online. And also living in a first world country, you know, things just work, and you know, governments are accountable for things that they do. And I just feel like I never had that in Brazil. It was such a different reality. Other question is, what are your top 5 must-dos with your family? On a bigger scale, I'd say definitely get them outside of the house for some fresh air and to burn some energy. Definitely have to do that so often, because otherwise they just go crazy. Another thing is to socialize them with other children, because I find that that makes them more comfortable around other children. The third thing is to see family, so that they don't lose touch with family. Other thing is for us all to have as much fun and laughter in the house as possible as a family, and try and remember to make these little moments together count, so that we don't forget that sometimes days can get so busy and so difficult and we're rushing about, and it's so easy to forget that we have fun and we are a fun family, we are fun parents. So that's one must do with my family. And the last thing, let me see if I can remember, just to try and enjoy as much as possible of the cuddles and the quiet moments, because they'll go so quickly and I will miss them dearly when they're gone. Next one, where abroad would you like to go with your family? I think I've answered that one in either this one or the previous Q&A. What activities besides studies do you think that you will encourage Bella and James to do in the future? Singing, dancing, drawing, and why? I would definitely like to get them to play an instrument, only because it was something I really missed in my childhood, and they have a huge opportunity with Matthew playing the piano really well and us already having a piano in the house. I'd love to get them to do lessons to learn whatever musical instrument they want to do. I'd like to get Isabella to do ballet, or James if he wants, but mostly I think Isabella would be interested in it. I did it as a child and I really enjoyed it. I don't know, I think whatever they fancy doing, I will encourage them to do. Definitely sports, because I think it's great for them, and arts. So definitely want to get them to do those. And the last question, what does it feel like to be a mummy YouTuber? To be honest, it doesn't feel any different than being a mummy, just a mummy. The only thing is I feel like we have a way in which we can talk to a group of people, sometimes a large group of people in one go, and to kind of reach to other mums out there who might be feeling lonely and who don't have any other way of talking to anyone or any other mums. And that to me is invaluable, being able to talk to other mums and to reach out to them and make mums feel better about what they're doing with their children. It's something that I'm really, really passionate about. To me, that's the best part. Oh, and also being able to raise my children whilst staying at home with them and not missing any of the little moments and still supporting my family. That is priceless. How much Portuguese do they know and how much do they understand? Tips on books in Portuguese. James knows quite a bit now and he's been really interested in it recently, which is great. Isabella's picking up quicker than James, but obviously because she's younger, she can't really talk as much as he can. But she can definitely understand what I'm saying, like when I'm singing in Portuguese, because she knows like the start and the ending of every sentence of songs that I sing to James. I don't really speak in Portuguese to them at home as much as I would like to. I've talked about this in a few videos, which I'll leave linked below, but our reality is slightly different in that Matthew doesn't speak Portuguese and none of my family that speaks Portuguese live here in the country. So I really don't have anyone to speak Portuguese to. I just feel really awkward just having one language between me and the kids, and then have a complete Matthew be completely outside of the family. I don't know. This is just the way that I feel personally. I know a lot of people just don't care about it and they speak their language, even if their partner don't speak it. But I've just always felt like that it would be really isolating for Matthew, and it's partially his fault for not learning Portuguese. You know, he still has time to learn, but that's just the way that things are. So what I do is I sing a lot of songs to them. I find that James really learns through songs, even in English, so that really helps. In terms of books, like I said, I don't really do that much Portuguese reading. I would love some recommendations if anyone has any tips of any books in Portuguese that I could read for the children. So next question. Where are you going on holiday? We're going to Brazil. Trying to get some inspiration from other mummies. Yeah, so we're going to visit the family, and we also have my sister's wedding to go to. Next question. How do you keep a healthy marriage when you two have such young children? That was asked by my friend Lucy. Hi Lucy. That's a tough one, isn't it? Because I think at one point or another, we all struggle when we have young children to look after our marriage as much as we did before having children. My biggest tip would be to give each other space, and try not to be at each other's throats for the little things. Save that for the big important things. My tip for other mums out there struggling to kind of communicate with their partners is to remember that men see things differently to women sometimes, and sometimes what you think is really important, it really isn't for your partner, and they have their own way of loving and looking after the children. Also give them more credit as well and let them find their own way. That way it will stop you feeling like you're constantly nagging them to do things your own way. And also talk to each other, communicate, and tell your partner how you're feeling and what you think he could do better and he could change, and also get them to tell you what they think you should change and what you should improve, because that goes a really long way. A lot of the times we just don't know what the other one really wants from us. But young children put a strain in the relationship, and it's normal. I think my biggest tip would be to avoid hurting each other by saying mean things when you're angry, and avoid explosive behavior. Sometimes you just need to vent and you just need someone to blame, and unfortunately our partners are the closest person that we have a lot of the time. And so avoiding that, avoiding using them as a punch bag, can sometimes make the relationship a lot more light-hearted. Definitely also making an effort to spending time together without the children, and just allowing each other to be themselves and do what they want to do. Next question. I'm from Rio and I live in London. I'm in Brazil at the moment visiting my family, and I'd like to ask you if your family keeps telling you that Brazil is more dangerous now than it used to be. Are you prepared to enjoy your country even in a bad situation? I don't remember anyone telling me anything specific about it being more dangerous. I just know that it's probably generally more dangerous than it used to be. And I'm definitely going to enjoy it regardless, because, you know, I love my home country, and as much as I know I've got to be, you know, more vigilant over there, especially with my children and my husband, because Matthew looks very much like a foreigner. I know I have to be like extra careful to make sure that they are not like easy targets. But yeah, I think I'm just going to enjoy it regardless. I've always been cautious, so I'll continue to be cautious. So this was sent by Priya. Hi Priya. Did your pregnancy differ when having a boy and a girl? I'm curious, as my sister is pregnant with her second one and her pregnancy is so different this time, so we're thinking it's a girl. Funnily enough, my pregnancy was very, very similar in the first and I think all the way to mid-second trimester. So much so that I was convinced I was having a boy second time, and I even said that in my pregnancy update videos here on YouTube. But it was so similar. I had the same cravings, I felt exactly the same, but then things just changed, and after I think 16 weeks or 17 weeks, it was totally different. My cravings completely changed after that, and I had more energy. I had different symptoms than I had with James. So yeah, first trimester and half the second was definitely the same. So I don't know if you can tell the sex just by how the pregnancies are, but best of luck to your sister. Next question. Are you going to vlog your trip to Brazil? Yes, I am going to do my best to get as much footage as possible. We have a jam-packed trip full of events happening, so we're not going to be still in one place for very long, and it would be great to have the memories. So I'm going to force myself to like get the camera out as much as possible. I do find that sometimes I'm like so worried about what's going on in the moment, like keeping the kids safe and getting everything together, not forgetting anything, that I struggle to get the camera out and do all these things at the same time. But I have to get better at it because I need to capture these memories. Next question. How did you meet Matthew, and what helped you better in labour with regards to pain relief? Matthew and I met when I was in London on holiday, and it was pretty much love at first sight. I've already spoken about how we met on a Q&A in the past, so I'll leave it linked below. But yeah, I just had to finish a few things up in Brazil before moving to the UK. So I did go back to Brazil, and we had a long distance relationship for about 6 months or so. And then I came back for good. I signed up for a master's degree because I didn't want to just come back for the relationship. I wanted to have something that I was doing for myself as well. So yeah, that's how we met. The other question was, what helped you better in labour with regards to pain relief? With James, my labour was so quick and it all happened so quickly that I only had paracetamol and gas and air. I found that the gas and air didn't do much because it didn't take the pain away. It was just taking the edge off at the beginning, but then at sort of like the end of almost pushing, it wasn't doing anything. So I didn't have much pain relief with James, but with Isabella, I had an epidural and it was amazing because it made me so much more present and it made me feel what was happening in the moment, and I knew exactly, you know, that she was about to come into the world. I wasn't completely taken over by pain. So I'm really glad that I did without the epidural with James, just to have that experience of knowing that my body could do it. But I'm also really glad that I had the epidural with Isabella because it's what I needed at that point, and my labour with Isabella was so much longer. Hospitals didn't have any beds available, so I had to wait a really long time to have a bed in the labour ward. So I think that's a really personal choice, but I'm definitely not opposed to pain relief. I think if you need it, ask for it and get it. Next question, have you ever experienced any racism in the UK? I've never experienced any racism at all. I've never had any problems with anyone. I've always been so welcome wherever I have been. And yeah, I think I've just been really lucky and met some really lovely people in my time here. Next question, I'm planning on going on holiday with my 1-year-old. How do I travel with her in the airport and on the plane? I'm so scared she won't like it. I'll leave a link to a video that I did when we traveled with James for the first time. That video was so in depth. I went through all of the steps from choosing what flights to get, what seats to get, what to do on the plane, what to do in the airport, what to do when you have a long wait. It was a really, really in-depth video. So I'll leave it linked below, but please don't panic. Try and be as prepared as possible. Organize everything that you can organize and do your research, but just try and have fun as well. Remember, it's your baby's first experience, so try and be happy as well and try and enjoy it, even if it's difficult. Next question, what do you do to entertain a baby and a toddler at home when we can't get out in this bitter, wet and snowy British weather? I think plenty of animals. My children just love animals and they absolutely love like making the animal sounds, finding the mummy and the daddy. So we try to play as much as possible with the things that they enjoy. James loves colouring, so we do get the colouring books out when we are just stuck at home and have nothing to do. Isabella loves doing anything that James is doing, and we just generally try and sing lots of songs. My children love songs, and I'm not a very crafty mum. We don't do lots of activities. Plenty of snacks, fruits, definitely invaluable when you're stuck at home with the kids. And yeah, that's pretty much all that we do. Next question, how did you manage your English studies when you were in Brazil? And how did you read books in English? So I did English as part of normal school curriculum, but I didn't really learn English then. I actually did lessons in a private English school, which a lot of my friends did as well. And it was just twice a week in the afternoon or something like that. And I really enjoyed it. So that's what I did for a few years. I remember I read all the Harry Potter series in English. And I also started reading some Sidney Sheldon books. So I read novels, but not that many sort of like other types of books. I remember learning a lot of English from TV shows, and especially like Friends and things like that I used to watch with subtitles on to learn more. So yeah, it was more TV and songs for me that helped me learn English. Next question, where are you from in Brazil? I'm from Aracaju, and if you don't know, which you probably don't if you're not from Brazil, it's in the northeast of Brazil, and it's very, very hot and very lovely there. Next question, how long are you staying in Brazil? We're going for about 3 weeks, so quite a long time, but we definitely need it because we're doing so much there. What about your trip to Brazil feels more exciting to you, and does your husband like Brazil? Matthew absolutely loves Brazil. He can't wait to go. And what excites me the most is getting to see my family again, my mum, my sister, my brother and all my extended family, and having them see Isabella. Some of them will be meeting her for the first time, and see James as well. It would just be amazing for all the family to just meet the children. Also to be there for my sister's wedding, which is such a special moment, and I'm so happy that I'm going to be there for her. And just make lots of memories with the kids there, because we're going back to where I grew up, which is really special to be able to take them to my hometown. So yeah, that's really exciting. So that's it. I think I've answered all of your questions up to the point when I'm filming this video. Sorry if you sent a question after the video. I'll try to answer the ones that didn't make it onto the video individually. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to watch part 1 of my Q&A if you haven't seen it already, because there's lots of questions I answered there as well. If you're not subscribed already, I'd love for you to subscribe and press the notification bell so that you get notified when a new video is live. And I hope to see you all again in my next video. Bye!